Welcome to Night Wardens Gaming. This is Grizzly. We're currently our Ragnarok base in the desert. This is my first video ever, so you'll have to pardon a full pause I may make. But I want to take you around and give you a brief overview of the various bases that the clan has put together over the last few months. And once we have done that, later on I'll be doing videos doing particular shots showing in detail the various bases. Yes, we will. So right now we're in my current base of operations, which is in the Ragnarok desert. We're going to take off from here, do a brief flyover, and then we'll travel around the map and see what there is to see. This current map, I've been doing a lot of work starting to decorate it, thanks to large part Equals Mods. I am a Patreon supporter of hers and love everything she does. Recently putting in the barbecue pit, which I love, especially since there's so many tiny bowls around here. So this zone I fell in love with from the moment I first saw it. There was so much already done. It was really easy to work with. We've set up a pyramid structure where I'm doing most of my crafting work, and I have my residential areas and housing area for my various tames. And I'm currently working on enclosing the backyard area, which is going to be my zoo. I'm hoping to do a more natural look using Eco Mods again to decorate various plants and make natural environments for the various animals that we have collected. These structures are all large part of the landscape. I just added to it, trying to make it seamless and natural looking as possible. If you haven't checked out this part of Ragnarok before, I would highly recommend doing so. It's one of the easiest areas I've ever had to build in. You got both water resources, land resources, everything you need to build nearby. And there's any number of projects you could do in this area. I'm setting it up as a port market area. Future projects will include finishing off this bridge, as many people have already done. It's going to take a bit of work, but I'm looking forward to it. And I'm also going to work on what I call the chalet out here. I've already started working on the gardens area. I took what was already here and just added to it. Adding irrigation, decorations, and plant plots. I used the round ones from the grass mod, so it doesn't stick out so much, but it makes a very natural look to it. And this is the chalet I want to finish off. I started laying out some groundwork parameters to set up a fencing to keep the raptors out. Next to the crocs, the biggest problem in this area are the raptors. There are quite a few of them, including a number of alphas that spawn on a regular basis. Nothing they can't handle, but you do have to watch your back. So I'm going to put the video on pause and head downstream a bit and show you the next section. We are now at my earlier base before they finished off the desert environment. You can see two obelisks as reference points, and we came from that direction. This area was designed with the idea of using the new platforms on the cliff structures. I also put a taming pit up high that would not interfere with anything. Put in some grinding equipment for the windmill, And it's fairly well protected. There are a lot of nasty creatures in the area, but a couple of key uh, blocking points here and down here, and you're fairly secure. Not much comes up. And we'll cover this in a future video, but this is a nice little setup here. Basically 4 rooms around a central hallway location. And now I will head out towards the Green Obelisk to our friend Ryan's place, which has a lot to see. I actually misspoke. This is not Ryan's base, it is Hedge's base. It's strategically placed near the snow biomes, swamp biomes, some plains, desert, jungle. He has just about everything he needs, and he is one of our great breeders. He spent a lot of time breeding up a variety of critters. Of note, of course, the RGs and the Rexes. And it is our main source for Rexes for boss fights. We also call this area Rex Alley because they just keep coming. It's a natural spawn point. He sets up a couple traps just over the hill here near the Green Obelisk and does a trapping of raw material, but at this point the teams that we have leveled up are pretty advanced, and he actually has them, bunches of them, trios of them, just roaming around loose, getting leveled up all on their own. So with that, we're going to continue heading on down the coast to the biggest base, and someone who has actually surpassed me as the big builder, Jericho. We are now at the outskirts of Jericho's base. It is an FPS killer, but the only way to truly appreciate it is to just slowly make your way in and watch it come into existence. So here we go. And I am running a fairly good rig, but there are a lot of pieces in this base. I have to say he is one of the most imaginative builders I've ever met. Puts a lot of details, puts things together that I wouldn't think of putting together. Loves the castles and keeps, loves all of Eco's work, and is always looking for something new to try, new decorations. And yes, we are still drawing. I think going over his base as for tour guide is going to take several videos. There's just way too much to see here. One of my favorite areas is up ahead, the elevated village with the elevated walkways. And when he's not busy building buildings, he's building rafts. Well, there's still more to see, so I am going to skip forward. We'll come back here again, and I'm going to move on to my first base, the Ragnarok Castle. We are now at Viking Bay, and of course it's raining. It's always raining here. This was our first build. My brother, the gameskeeper, would build this section over here. A lot of it he's taken down since then. But my original castle's still here. Still not finished. I always mean to get back and do more work on it. But this is the market village. Interestingly enough, we're about all the way on the far side of the map from my current desert village. The way in, still open for customers. The barns, which was my first experience with eco mods and building that barn. And the castle. See, my brother's still using it for storing his sea creatures. He is another one of our animal collectors. I call him the gameskeeper. He's got quite the variety. Got landing areas here for all the birds and griffins when they come to town. And I still plan on coming back here and finishing this off. The interior is mostly not decorated except for the apartments up top here. I did my best to meld parts from castles and keeps and eco with the glass work. It's very, very nice. And now we're going to go to my brother. He moved from here because the FPS hits were too high and moved up on top of the hill past the abandoned castle. So we'll head out that way. And if anybody ever wanted to know what Bigfoot 17 likes to do in Ark, all they'd have to do is come check out his digs and they'll immediately know. He likes to collect animals. And they are so well leveled up and so deadly that he doesn't even bother putting walls around this. And yes, he even did the very painful process of collecting this xenobite. Well, we have one more location to check out, and it's past the volcano, so I'll put it on pause once more. And our final location is near the red obelisk, and is owned by our illustrious leader, Bruick and Rynan. Coming down to the fields here, they have a very long bridge working its way up to an enclosed area around a very picturesque lake. There are more active collectors when we were on Aberration. Currently our second clustered map is on the island, and after that we're going to do Scorched Earth. We're going through and doing all the big bosses because we had never done that before, displayed on the maps. So when we're done with the island, we'll be going on Scorched Earth and then possibly make another stop at Aberration for a couple pickups and moving on to whatever new map catches our eye. So that's the end of the quick tour video. and we'll be making some more soon, showing in detail some of these fantastic bases.